Hi everyone, I'm Agustin Whiskey. I'm an Odoo developer at Blue Park. This time I wanted to share with you how it's possible to deploy a smart contract with Odoo. This will be a super compressed tutorial. It will be hard to absorb everything in 20 minutes, but hopefully it will be enough to introduce you into the blockchain world. If you are a beginner or you want to become a blockchain developer, you should be familiar with different terms like blockchain, smart contracts, but also with different tools like Remix, MetaMask, Solidity, and so on. But don't worry, everything is going to be shared. The source code of this tutorial will be available, so you can start playing with it right after this presentation. Version that will be short, just 20 minutes. First, I will give you a brief introduction into the blockchain and smart contracts. Then I will provide you some facts about Ethereum and blockchain. Then we will spend most of our time deploying our smart contract with Odoo. So the blockchain is an immutable chain of blocks where each block contains data which is validated by all the nodes in the network. It's a system of recording information in a way that is almost impossible to hack. Even without a central authority, every transaction in the blockchain is considered to be completely secure and verified, and this is only possible because of the presence of the consensus protocol plus the mining process. A smart contract is simply a program stored in the blockchain. Ethereum is a second-generation blockchain technology that includes smart contract functionality. The AVM is a computation engine that works like a large decentralized computer. Every node runs on the AVM to maintain consensus across the network. This is the proof of work consensus. Solidity is the programming language used to write smart contracts in Ethereum. Avalanche is a third-generation blockchain. It is designed to address some of the limitations of previous blockchain platforms, including slow transaction speeds and scalability. Although Avalanche supports the Ethereum Virtual Machine (AVM), it uses its own protocol. Well, we are almost ready to start with our tutorial, but first you need to check the requirements. We just need Git and Docker installed. If you already have it, then we can continue with the Docker build, the module installation, and finally the deployment of our smart contract into the blockchain with Odoo. This is our repository. We just need to clone this in our local machine. So we just need to open a new terminal. You can create a folder if you want. I'm using tutorial. Then we just need to clone our repository. Instead, then you can edit this project with your favorite IDE. I'm using VS Code, by the way. If we explore this AVAX project folder and we pay attention to the Docker Compose file, we will figure that we have our Odoo web service definition here, and we have this build instruction to build our custom image. If we check the Docker file, we will figure that we have this particular section that includes the Solidity compiler in our Odoo image, and this is important because otherwise you won't be able to run the build of different smart contracts from Odoo if you don't have this. Then we included in the requirements these two libraries, Web3 and the Solidity compiler, the Python Solidity compiler. And we also define these external dependencies in our module. Then we just need to run the Docker Compose app, and this will build our image. This will take a while, maybe 20 minutes. It depends on your network, but also the power of your machine. But once this is done, you will have the service running. Just a minute. There we go. Now we can access to the Odoo service through our web browser. Here we just need to create a new database. The important part here is to select the demo data, because I included two demo connectors, one for Ethereum and the other one for Avalanche. After you create a database, you need to install the module, the AVAX module. After a few seconds, we can access to our AVAX module through this menu. And there you see these two connectors. Now we can deploy our smart contract in the Ethereum Ropsten network. We can select the connector and we can test it. That's it. It's working. One important thing here is that our service URL is actually an endpoint, because we are using Infura. Infura is an API that allows you to easily connect to the Ethereum blockchain. I created this project. This is a test project, but we can see our configuration in this Ethereum tab. Then I can click on this test project, and in settings I will find the different endpoints for each Ethereum network. In this case, you have mainnet, Ropsten, Kovan. I used Ropsten in the demo. This is my endpoint. Please use another one. Once we have this, we can create an account. And this account will be created actually in this Ethereum Ropsten network. This is a test net, I remember. You have to remember that. We need to define just the name and select the connector that we want to use for this account. Ethereum 1, this is the name. The connector, you can save it, generate the account, and this will create the account after we provide a password for it, because we will use this password to do everything using this account instead of using a tool, external tool like MetaMask. You will see it. Then after this, we can explore using Ropsten Etherscan. We can check our address. Now we can see that we have 0 Ether. That's why we need to add funds to our account. We can use the faucet. We need to copy the address, and you can paste it in the Ropsten Ethereum faucet, and you can click send me test ether, and you will receive 0.3 ether. If we refresh this page, you will see that we have 0.3 ether. Now we can do things, because you can read for free in the blockchain, but if you want to do a transaction or write or modify something, you need to pay the gas of fiat for this transaction. Now that we have funds, we are able to deploy our smart contract. So we can create in Odoo or smart contract. For this, we will access to Remix. Remix is an IDE in the cloud that allows you to write Solidity code. You will see it in a few seconds. There we go, Remix IDE. When you enter into this IDE, you will find exactly the same thing that we are seeing now. This allows you to select, for example, this first smart contract. This is the Solidity language. We can copy this Solidity code and we can paste this in our Odoo, in this Solidity tab. And once we have this done, we can compile it and then deploy it. When you compile a Solidity code, you will have the bytecode that this is necessary to do the deployment. Then we need to select our account and provide our password, and then we can click on send to actually deploy this smart contract in the Ropsten network. That's it. We can see our URL in the chatter also, and we can explore this in Etherscan, and there it is, our smart contract with all the logs of the transaction, even the fee of this transaction. Now we can interact with it. We can use these two functions. This will call these two different wizards in our Odoo. This time I will just set a value. This smart contract is super simple. It's just a smart contract that allows you to store and read an integer. That's it. It's done. You can see below actually the link of the transaction, so we can access through Etherscan again, and you can see the log of this transaction. It was successfully executed. And of course we can retrieve the value, read the value. Remember that everything is stored actually in the blockchain. All this data nothing is stored in Odoo. This is stored actually in the Ropsten Ethereum blockchain. Now we can do exactly the same thing using Remix and Metamask. We will use Remix to connect to our already deployed smart contracts, and Metamask is a wallet that's it can be connected to our Chrome browser. Then we can select the inject Web3 environment to use our MetaMask. To be able to interact with your smart contract, you need the address of the smart contract and the AV of this smart contract. This is a public smart contract. It has no ownership, and that's why we can, if we have the address and the AVI, we can modify it or interact with it, and that's what we are doing now. One thing, you have the Pragma Solidity instruction there. This indicates which compiler you should use to use this smart contract. Once we access to our smart contract with the Remix IDE, we can retrieve, as you can see now, we can retrieve the value stored in this smart contract, but also we can change it. But if we press store, this will call our MetaMask account to confirm this operation. In Odoo, this is not necessary because we already include our password in the account definition, but this is something that you can change. If you want, you can build something to use MetaMask, but I prefer not to, because maybe it's useful to have everything included in Odoo. As you can see here, also I can retrieve the value from Odoo, the value that I changed from Remix ID. Now we can do exactly the same thing, but in Avalanche, in the Fuji C chain. This is the testnet for Avalanche. We can test it, and it's working. Cool. We can also create an account, but this will be it is actually another blockchain. So the Explorer and the Faucet are totally different. You will see it. But the process is exactly the same thing. Both of the blockchains, we can connect to both blockchains through the Web3 library, and both blockchains are compatible with Solidity, so it's almost the same. As you can see, the faucet here in AVAX is different. We can request chain AVAX. You can see the transaction ID there, but also we also have this here. And now we know that we have 10 AVAX in that address. And I will show you that it's possible to send AVAX from our MetaMask wallet to our account. I can use this account to send a certain amount of AVAX to my account, the account that I already created in Odoo. Then I can press Siguiente en español or confirm. And once with that process done, we can check the balance again. And now we can see that the amount was increased to 12. Now we can deploy exactly the same smart contract that we deployed before in Ethereum, but this time it will be in AVAX. We can copy and paste exactly the same Solidity code again. And that's it. Save, compile, deploy. Need to select the account and provide the password. Send. Now we can interact with our smart contract. We can access to the AVAX Explorer, and we can see the logs of our transaction, the gas price, the gas used by the transaction. We can also interact with it. We're going to store a value. Test this. Done. You can see the change in the chatter again, but we can retrieve the value, of course. As you can see, 33. There's the value. So we can again interact with Remix IDE using the inject Web3 environment, but this time our MetaMask is using our AVAX account, and that's why we can connect to this different blockchain. And if I press retrieve, you can see again that the integer value was there. Now I can store 77, and this will call our MetaMask that is connect, or it has our AVAX account. And now we can retrieve the value that we set in Remix, and there we go, 77. So that's it, 77 here. So that's it, guys. Hope you like it. Bye bye.
going to go ahead and go through the AMA and get into some actual questions about this. Here, let me move over here. There's a lot of good questions in the chat, so thank you for asking those. We're going to try to get through all of them if we can. One thing that got asked kind of early on is, can this be used to lot number register? So I assume to register lot numbers. Do you want to comment on that?
Yes, can be used whatever you want. I mean, you can store data in the blockchain. So this data could be anything you want. It depends on your business needs, I think.
Okay, that's fair. Well, speaking of which, somebody, that same person, Oscar, also asked, what other uses can it have? What do you imagine?
I imagine that you can use this, for example, based on mostly in the smart contracts. You can add transparency and share the information again through all the ERPs. Not only Odoo, you can share information between different companies, and this somehow expand the opportunities. And but yeah, I mean, sometimes, I mean, in one case I can imagine is the insurance companies, maybe health insurance company too. I mean, because all the workflow they use normally is to share data between different companies to add transparency to the entire workflow or process.
Great. Yeah, I could see that being the case. Actually, I wanted to ask, related to that, was there one particular client that you were working with that inspired this project to begin? There was one particular use case?
Yeah, exactly. It was an insurance company. I mean, that somehow they are using, I mean, in Germany, they are using a platform that is a little bit old, and I hate it. That's why I start researching with my team at Blue Park. We start researching different opportunities, and that's why this came up. I mean, this idea to start working with blockchain through Odoo and try to provide a better solution for them.
Great. Yeah, it's worked out, and you can tell people are very interested. In the keynote this morning, one of the very first big comments that got posted was, "Can Odoo please do something about blockchain or cryptocurrency and things like that?" And so, yeah, the demand is there, and it's only going to rise, and it's great.
Awesome.
Great that you can be an early pioneer for this. Somebody asked for clarification, using REST APIs to communicate between Odoo and Ethereum.
Yes, but the developers that maybe they are watching right now this talk can download the source code of the project, and they will see that we are using Web3.py, that is somehow an extension of Web3.js. And this is a library that allows you to connect to different endpoints in these two blockchains, Ethereum and Avalanche, both.
Fantastic. That's good. And yeah, I think that this is a particularly interesting topic for developers that are watching right now, for sure. And so another question right here. Let's see. They said it was really great, so that's nice. But NLA wrote, "I have one question. While validating the transaction you have paid for gas, is it just considering the miner fee or CEX transfer fees also?" It's a pretty specific question.
Also, if you check the code, you can set, I mean, the transaction fee. When you write in the blockchain, you need to pay it, but you can set this, I mean, how much you are willing to pay, because this depends on the speed you want the transaction to be mined. So this depends on also in the blockchain you are working on. Maybe it's Ethereum or maybe AVAX is different.
Okay. I can see this question coming up a lot. Is it possible to use your solution to activate an NFT contract for an artist based on Ethereum?
Yes, I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And in the blockchain, you are, with this module, you are already connected. So it depends. I mean, one thing that I wanted to mention is that I try to simplify it so that the community can start with something. This is something. And the functionality that the developers should take care of is the functionality that we can retrieve from the smart contract, because this could be super complex structures. Right in this tutorial, we are just using an integer, but it could be more complex structures. So this is something that the developer should take care of.
Great. Okay. Well, that's all we have time for the Q&A, but just like all the talks, we're going to go ahead and post a link for an extended Q&A session. So if anybody wants to get into a deep discussion, you can go ahead and jump into that link. We'll go ahead and put it in the chat. I just want to say thank you so much for what you've done for the community, and I'm sure this is just the beginning for blockchain and Odoo and what you're going to be able to do with it. So thank you very much, and I hope everybody has a great rest of OXP.